Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to this, a new car. It's a 2023 Mercedes AMG SL63 Roadster. Today I'm gonna get this rig up in the air. We're gonna nerd out in the tech specs, see how it's constructed, and then go give it the beans. Did you get it? Is this thing on? Okay. Oh, that's crazy. It has like a little winglet on the side of the rear diffuser. You can barely see them, but inside these vents right here are the dual stainless steel mufflers for the active exhaust system. First thing to point out on this R232 generation SL63 is the active rear axle, which features rear wheel steering that you can't see because of this giant aluminum shroud encasing and protecting everything back here. What the hell is that for? Oh, what? This little hydraulically controlled actuator pushes on the knuckle right here to change the steering angle. Whoa, no way. This right here is the subframe assembly. See this massive hole where the axle is going into? Well, the only reason why they would do that is because later they could adapt this platform to house an electric motor back here instead of the rear differential. The SL63 utilizes a double wishbone rear suspension, all of which is constructed out of aluminum. The knuckles are forged aluminum. If you look all the way up here, you can see the adaptive dampers, which are hydraulically controlled. More cooling ducts to channel air to the brakes. The Mercedes AMG Roadster was redesigned for the 2022 model year, and this SL63 is the top badass version of the range, weighing in at 4,305 pounds. All of the exhaust is stainless steel, has a H-pipe in the center. Outside diameter is huge. 70 millimeter, which is 2 3/4 inch. That cat's the size of a beer keg. You notice this giant underbody brace? That is made out of expensive, either carbon or some kind of extremely strong, expensive plastic. It has some kind of weird resin bonding the two pieces together. Has a cooling duct, which may provide some airflow for the transmission pan, but I'm willing to wager it has something to do with this little avionics package back here on the back half of the transmission. That's wild looking. The transmission is essentially mid-mounted in the car, that being the Speed Shift MCT 9G wet multi-clutch 9-speed automatic gearbox. It is housed in an all magnesium casing, has 2 chain-driven hydraulic pumps capable of skipping multiple gears on the downshifts, and has a maximum torque input rating of 1,000 Newton meters of torque, or 737 pound-feet. That's a nuke-proof gearbox right there. Up front, you have another double wishbone suspension configuration, all manufactured out of aluminum with a forged knuckle. Look at this lower link. That is wild. Again, paired to those hydraulically controlled adaptive dampers. Massive channels for funneling that airflow to cool the brakes. The vents just below the front bumper cover. If you look inside there, you can see there's a heat exchanger facing downward. Well, that's kind of neat. It's got a curtain like a hovercraft for bad infrastructure and terrible drivers, so you don't ruin the front bumper. Time for the braking test. No one behind me. This is gonna hurt. Ready? Oh my god. The seatbelt, like, groped me. I can feel my heartbeat in my throat right now. Lots of ABS feedback from the pedal. Really aggressive. Great stopping distance. Great braking, as you should expect. That braking was just made possible thanks to a 6-piston monoblock caliper with a steel cross-drilled 391 millimeter or 15.4 inch front rotor. The wheels, they are a forged monoblock 20 by 9.5 with a positive 53.5 millimeter offset, with a little turbofan built into them that it looks like it's removable from the backside also. These wheels are sick though. They're wrapped in a set of 2 65/40 Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. High five. Out back, you get a deceptively large single pot Brembo caliper with a 361 millimeter or 14.2 inch rotor. The wheels staggered from the front are a forged monoblock 20 by 11 with a positive 63 millimeter offset, wrapped in a 295/35 Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tire. In the name of science, I am now going to give this thing the beans. Bolstering assessment Great. Excellent bolstering, superb. These seats, they're heated, ventilated, and full massage. Select comfort. Seat massage. I got classic, relaxing, and activating. Intensive. Play. Give it the beans while getting a massage. That's high society right there. As far as drive modes go, on the steering wheel, which is flat bottom, I have 2 dials. The dial on the right, I can go from intelligent, comfort, sport, sport plus, active exhaust got louder, race. And to the left, the dial will let me individually configure some of the settings within those modes. And then you can change the settings of aggressiveness by pressing the side, and same thing with the top, so you can have 2 different ones going at once. And then for traction control, that's done on the screen. Press that, brings up the AMG menu. I'm gonna put everything in the most aggressive setting, and I'm gonna leave the transmission in auto, just because it's smarter than I am. All right, ready? See what this thing can do. Go. Oh, jeez. It even tightened the seatbelt, that's good. It even tightened the seatbelt when I launched it. Yeah, it's definitely fast. My heart's racing now. Well, that's a light hood with struts. This car is equipped with a hydraulic nose lift feature to raise the front of the car to help with coming in and out of steep driveways, which also subsequently makes it easy to get this thing on a lift since it's so low. Underneath the hood of the 2023 Mercedes SL63 AMG is the M177, which is an all-aluminum closed-deck block bi-turbo 4-liter V8 that produces 577 horsepower from 5,500 to 6,500 RPM and 590 pound-feet of torque from 2,500 to 4,500 RPM. Handcrafted by Robert Monti. Okay, Robert Monti, let's get a look at your handcrafted work. If this comes off easily, it does. Good. Haha. Now you can get a good look at the 2 water-to-air charge coolers mounted in the front half of the engine, and then the twin BorgWarner turbos are mounted in the valley of the V8. You remember that downward-facing heat exchanger from earlier? Well, there's the top view. What you have here is a front mid-engine layout. You can see the engine sits predominantly behind that front axle line. So digging in a little bit deeper on the M177, now like I said before, this is a closed deck block, has an 83 by 92 millimeter bore and stroke. It is wet sumped, not dry sumped, but with that closed deck block, this thing has an 8.6 to 1 compression ratio, which for a turbocharged engine, lower compression ratios is common, but 8.6 to 1 is fairly uncommon in modern turbocharged engines. That's kind of old school, which means with that closed deck block, this thing is likely capable of running a shit ton of boost. As far as this goes, currently it's 110 degrees Fahrenheit outside, which is about 43 degrees and change Celsius, in case you don't use Fahrenheit. So I'm gonna do the top indoor. I'll press the top button right here. Oh, that's crazy. It gives you the option to automatically tilt this display when the top's down automatically so you don't get glare on it. And I am going to put the top down. I slide this. It scared me.
Well, it's neat.
Just like that. And to close. Done. So you can change the angle up to 15 degrees of this thing. Give you an idea of what that looks like. I can change the display angle manually right here. That's crazy. And of course the SL63 has Mercedes ambient lighting, which is absolutely gorgeous. I have it set on purple because it's pretty. The sounds coming out of this car are epic. This noticeably handles better than the EQE and the EQS AMG, which obviously they're substantially heavier, but I have the EQE AMG fresh in my mind because I reviewed that not too long ago, and even though that massive battery pack gives it a nice low center of gravity, doesn't hold a candle to this thing. 4,300 pounds isn't light, but for its weight, this thing handles fairly decent. Now that rear wheel steering system, it allows speeds below 62 miles per hour, 100 kilometers an hour for up to 2.5 degrees of steering angle in either direction. Above 100 kilometers an hour, 62 miles per hour, it will steer in the same direction as the front wheels to aid in stability. 2.5 degrees isn't really noticeable when you're trying to turn around in a parking lot with this thing. The turning radius is, and with this wide of a front tire on it, it struggles turning in parking lots. I just love downshifting and getting on it for a brief second and then letting off, because you can hear the turbos, the compressor surge, or the diverter valves going. It sounds so good. Oh man. In addition to the AMG track pace feature, where it has a bunch of pre-programmed famous race circuits in here so you can monitor your laps and your telemetry for driving. Right now I have it on this one showing the suspension. You can tap on it again, and then it shows you your tire pressure and the tire temperature for each corner. That's kind of nice. And then I can select engine, and there is a little dynamometer. You can see your engine horsepower and torque. Just like other models of Mercedes, the gauge cluster is fully configurable. It has all kinds of different custom layouts for how you want your gauge cluster to look. The Burmeister sound system, yep, even that's hot right now. This is just hot in here. Sounds incredible. Tons of carbon fiber with ambient lighting underneath it. Open this up. A wireless charge cubby for your phone. That looks like a nightclub entrance. It's got a little touchpad just floating right here to put your palm on. It's hard to tell that this is actually a convertible from the inside. The entire roof is all lined and suede. That vent in the headrest is called the air scarf, and it provides air. As far as things I love about this car, number one, the color, and the fact that they offer so many colors in different combinations of colored tops and exterior and interior finishes. This color is called Manufacture Monza Gray Magno. It's more of a brown than a gray. And I will say this car is filthy right now, covered in dust, and you can't see any of it. Best color for hiding dirt. It always looks good, always looks clean. Also, the Burmeister sound system in this thing is amazing, and I want to try something. Hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
Put suspension in comfort.
I'm sorry, but I can't help you with that right now.
I didn't think it could do it, but I wanted to try. Also, I love the fact that this is a 2+2. I believe this is the first time ever for the SL to be a 2+2. And I like it because of the fact that it allows me to recline my seat further back, because when you're really tall, that's something you can't do that well in just a two-seater. I mean, I don't want to go as far as to say that the back seat is useless for humans, but I'm not trying to get back there. I'm gonna say that's useless for humans. The stuff I didn't really care for is the seat adjustment. When you're trying to adjust the back versus the position of the seat, the button is really finicky to try to get it to do exactly what you want it to do. And also the metal buttons and metal paddles, everything is made of high-grade materials in here, but the fact that they are metal, when your car is sitting in the sun, it'll burn your fingers when you go to hop in the car and use them. Yeah, that's like 1,000 degrees right now. I think that's probably only a Arizona summertime problem, so the real tough decision would be, though, this versus a Lexus LC500, because it is significantly more expensive than the Lexus. Granted, it's significantly faster. I don't know if it necessarily sounds significantly better, though. That's gonna be for you to decide. So fun fact, it's 8:03 in the morning and it's already 96 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now. It's spicy. First up is the bean score. It's the assessment of the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And the SL63 AMG gets a rating of, followed by the cookie score, the assessment of what you get for what you spend. And at $205,000, this is getting a rating of. Next is the wrench score, the assessment of ease of maintenance, and it gets a rating of. Followed by the squid score, the assessment of handling, and it gets a rating of. Lastly is the penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle, and the SL63 AMG gets a rating of. Personally, I prefer the older coupe variant of this car, the GTR, just because I live in Arizona and convertibles here are just asking for your hair to spontaneously combust while you're driving down the road, especially if you haven't washed it in a while because it's oily. And also, I want to mention, I don't really get the opportunity to review exotic or high-end European luxury cars. And Mercedes and I think Alfa Romeo are the only brands that have ever recognized and acknowledged me. For those of you that want to see me review more cars like this, I would if I had the option to, but I'm just thankful for the opportunities that I do get. So thank you guys for watching this. I'll see you soon with another. Bye.